Hey everyone, this is Fabriel and welcome back, and today we're going to do a pickups video. I haven't done one in a while, but how things were becoming, how things are with me now, I thought that this is fine because I cannot do a monthly pickups simply because I don't buy enough stuff every single month. And I don't buy stuff just to show them in my channel. I buy the stuff that I want to buy anyways and then show them mainly for curiosity on my channel. So it is more plausible that I keep doing these videos on a bi-monthly, even less regular. It depends. I mean, it's just pickups, but I always I always enjoy watching pickups to see what people gather, and because you can find interesting suggestions for everything, starting from the games, music, books, DVDs, whatever. I mean, pickups video are a great place to look for suggestions. And in my case here, this is a video, of course, for the months of February and March. And I think I've gathered enough interesting stuff. I got games, DVDs, and CDs. I was waiting for another item, a big one, but that is coming from Japan, so it's taking its wee time, but it's going to be worth it. I mean, I cannot believe that I managed to get that. But that's for the next pickups. In this one, let's just start with the games, since this is a gaming channel, primarily a gaming channel, even though I love to talk about everything. And I got the stuff for all my portable systems, which is awesome. And let's start with, if I can open it. There you go. Golden Sun: The Lost Age. Now, I've been getting into Golden Sun lately because I owned the first Golden Sun for a while now, and I've played it twice, but never got really far into it because both times I played for around 5 hours, and I was like, I'm liking this. This is a lot of fun and very interesting, but then got distracted by other games. So this time I was like, I want to play this for real, I want to beat it, because I liked it both times. And now I'm having a lot of fun. I'm playing the first one, I'm close to the end, I think, I don't know. Finally managed to gather all the Jins, I'm very proud of that. And playing this and saying, this is a great game, I really want to play the rest of the series. And so, let's start, as I said, with the second. For what I know, because I haven't read or watched anything about this, not anything, not much about it, Lost Age is focused on Felix. He is a sort of side character, important however, but not one of the main characters in the first game, and I'm very curious actually about it because he looks like the character with the best development to me, even though he's a sort of secondary. I'm very curious about it, but I'm going to talk more about this in my discussion on the first Golden Sun, since, as I said, I think I'm close to the end, so I'll be able to do a game discussion in the near future, I hope. Let's see. And because I'm enjoying the first game so much, and I'm sure that I'm gonna love the second game, of course, I picked up, finally, Dark Dawn on the DS, and this is a gorgeous, complete edition of it. It also comes with a map, which is nice, and instructions, everything, all these goodies. And luckily I didn't have to pay too much. All these games, I didn't have to pay too much for them. Of course, like, Nintendo games are not very, very cheap, but I didn't spend exorbitant amount of money for all my games, with one exception. It's not exorbitant, of course, but it was just a little more pricey because it's a particular item. But yes, Golden Sun Lost Age and Golden Sun Dark Dawn, really getting into the Golden Sun series, and I want to play all the games, and this is mainly what I'm going to do for the next couple of months, I suppose. So play all 3 of the Golden Sun games, finally. It's taken a while, but it's happening. Moving on to the PSP, another game that I always heard about it, and always being very curious about it, and that is Crimson Gem Saga by Atlus. Finally managed to get it. It was not very cheap, but not too expensive. It's, I think, I think I'll say this is actually was not as expensive as I feared, because with the stupid situation of game prices nowadays, be prepared to spend a lot of money on these kind of games. I mean, it's an RPG. It's an Atlus RPG, so it has to be expensive. And I spent quite much more money that I think it's necessary for a PSP game, but it was not too much, so I'm quite happy about it. I always wanted to play this game. Let's say I know it's on PSN. I'm not sure it's on PSN of Europe, because of course that's different. I never checked, to be honest. Probably it's there, and for like £1 it's like, oh, son of a bitch. But yes, I have a soft spot for like physical games. There's nothing I can do. I don't mind digital. I mean, I played Second Chapter recently digital, and I have other games digitally, but I prefer, let's say, I prefer the physical versions of the games, since I grew up when physical games were the norm, so that's just habits maybe. But again, I don't mind digital when it's necessary. So Crimson Gem Saga, it's definitely a game that I cannot wait to play on the PSP. It's an Atlus RPG. It has to be good, right? And next, again on the DS, I'm really happy that I managed to buy a couple of games on the DS, since it's a great system, and recently, because of other games I've been playing, I haven't touched it very often. And that's, I looked at it and like, oh, poor DS, don't worry, you'll receive some love someday. And it's happening thanks now for the Golden Suns. But this is another game that I always wanted to get. I was always curious about it. I hope it's not disappointing, because I haven't watched too many videos on it. I just read a couple of reviews here and there, or the but the game is Infinite Space. Now, I love sci-fi RPGs, sci-fi JRPG in particular, and for what I read, for what I understood, this sounded very interesting. I mean, the idea of that you have to build your own fleet of spaceships, you have to explore like a massive galaxy, while at the same time unravel this great story. And at the same time, a thing that really intrigued me is that this is a massive tribute to old school Japanese sci-fi like shows, sci-fi games. So I was like, I have to have it. But for the longest time, Infinite Space was very expensive. Very expensive. We're talking about like, for boxed and everything. Like, now I managed to find it for a nice price, because I've been following this game in years now. It's at least like 3 years that I want to buy Infinite Space, and up until now it was like £60, £80, like even more than 100. I was like, I'm not going to spend all that money on a DS game. Now I find it for like around 20, so very proud of myself. It's difficult to find for cheaper if you look for the box, of course, because I think that for the cart only you can save a lot of money, but I don't want the S cards only. I want the boxed. I want them boxed. And yes, Infinite Space, another game that I cannot wait to play on the DS, and always been so curious about it. So let's hope it will not disappoint. I don't think so. I think I'm still going to enjoy it. Interesting thing, it seems how can it be bad when they got this gorgeous sexy P on the back? Because I love Platinum. Is it my Platinum? I didn't know that. I mean, I can see, of course, Sega slapped its logo, but it's just the publisher. So we'll see. We'll see. But if it's a Platinum game, of course it's going to be great, because it's Platinum. And, oh, now we're getting into the painful stuff, even though I'm so happy to have this now. Recently, as you might know or might not know, but I'm telling you, I've been hammering the Legend of Heroes series since finally we're getting some new games from Second Chapter, Trails of Cold Steel, and oh my god, I hope you guys know that Exceed. Probably, I believe that these games did well. That's my hope and the only explanation. because apparently Exceed not only it's working very hard on bringing Trails of Cold Steel 2 to the West, but they announced that Trails in the Sky the Third is going to come to the West on PC. That's the only way we're going to get it, and I'm still extremely happy to play on PC. The important thing is having these games in whatever formats. That's what I'm saying about it. I don't mind digitally, because for some games it's the only way. And if I want a physical copy, I'll buy the Japanese, because it's cheap as dirt. And also there's a Xanadu coming, not the last one, Tokyo Xanadu, but another one that I cannot remember the name for the... I'm sure like Greg, Wonder from the Past, RPGs Wagman, have all the information you need, so check out his channel and him as a source of information on Falcom. Just saying this since because of how immensely I've enjoyed and play one after the other Trails in the Sky Second Chapter and Trails of Cold Steel. So good, get those games, guys. Those are some of the best RPGs ever. And I want to get as much Legend of Heroes games as possible, because I got into this series thanks to Trails in the Sky, like most people I believe here in the West, and that game is flat out phenomenal. I mean, it's one of the great RPGs. It's one of the best new old school RPGs ever made. And immediately after I played the Gaga trilogy, and I loved them so much, even though they're not held in the same regards as Trails in the Sky. I mean, Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch, Tear of Vermilion, and Songs of the Ocean are really charming and really good old school RPGs, because they are old. They are old school. There's a reason for that. And to me, I cannot say this enough, but I think that Tear of Vermilion is basically as good as Trails in the Sky in terms of story and character development and music. I cannot believe how much I like that game. And because of this, Legend of Heroes is becoming one of my favorite RPG series ever. I mean, I cannot believe the quality of these games and how much I enjoy each and every one of them. For this reason, since for now this is the only way to get these games, on the PSP, I had to get Zero no Kiseki. This is Legend of Heroes 7 Part 1, basically. Since Trails in the Sky, it's Legend of Heroes 6. And Zero no Kiseki and Ao no Kiseki are the two games that make the Crossbell Saga, we can call, I think that's his unofficial name. The two games that follow the Trails in the Sky trilogy and are before the Trails of Cold Steel trilogy. And apparently this and Ao no Kiseki are flat out phenomenal. I mean, Greg said that Ao no Kiseki is his favorite. I think it's Ao no Kiseki or this one, I cannot remember, but one of these is his favorite Kiseki game, and that's impressive. So yes, I have to buy the Japanese version of Zero no Kiseki because I want to have all the Legend of Heroes games. And the thing that drives me crazy, these games are really cheap. These Japanese games are so cheap. I spent £8, including the shipping from Japan. If this game is going to be released to the West, which it's probably going to be digital only, you can be sure it's going to be £25 or something like that, not 10. So, but I'm sure that when it was released it was expensive, but still, you get my point. When you buy these Japanese versions, they're so cheap of JRPGs. Why? Here in the West, they're so expensive because they're JRPGs. And also because it's not a very, very big genre anymore, so companies have to make their money. And moving on to another Legend of Heroes games in Japanese, this is the item I said it was a bit more expensive than the others. And when I saw this, I said, like, I have to have it. I have to see what we're missing. Since I love the game so much, I have to pick Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky First Chapter Evolution. And guys, this enhanced version on the Vita are unbelievably good. I mean, the graphics, the music, there's voice acting. It's the perfect version of Trails in the Sky. I played this for 1 hour because I said, oh well, I already played First Chapter. I know the story, I don't need to follow the dialogues. I didn't remember that there was so much dialogue at the beginning, but I think that's the fact that since I cannot understand a single word in Japanese, um, it felt longer than it did in English, naturally. But it looks so gorgeous. The music sounds amazing. The voice acting for each character are really. I would like to play at least until I meet Oliver because Oliver is phenomenal. But the voices of Estelle, of Joshua, of Cassius, they're Sarah, they're perfect. I cannot wait to listen to Oliver. I would like to see at least Oliver. But every single character, it's replaying this was a joy, but unfortunately, I couldn't understand it. And what pains me is that Exceed flat out said, like, we're never going to touch them. They're out of this Vita remakes of The Legend of Heroes are completely out of our reach. So we're never going to get this, and we're missing some amazing versions of an amazing series. Because of course, like the whole Legend of Heroes, Trace in the Sky trilogy, it's there. The Crossbell games are there. I mean, yes, there's Zero no Kiseki Evolution, Second Chapter Evolution, the Third Evolution. So we're missing this fantastic, but of course you have to consider, since the Vita is such a failure here in the West, it makes you think, what is it? How is it in Japan? Maybe it's quite successful. On the other hand, I personally have no idea, since I don't follow this kind of stuff. Since what's the point? But I find it very interesting and sad at the same time, because one, it shows actually the quality of the Vita, and B, it shows what amazing games we're missing. All these fantastic RPGs, and it pains me. So this for the games, a bit of everything, and let's move to the movies. Since I got quite a few of them, let's start with this one, Paranoia, with Liam Hemsworth, the brother of Thor, Chris Hemsworth, since it's known for being Thor. Paranoia, this is nothing special, but it's not bad. It's simply like a kind of okay movie. It's about this like corporations, a sort of corporate war between two like communication giants, played by the always amazing, however, Gary Oldman and Harrison Ford. I have to say, Harrison Ford without hair, it's quite scary in a way. If they're going to make Blade Runner 2, which I don't want, by the way, don't make that movie. For the love of God, don't make Blade Runner 2. I would like to see Harrison Ford bald. It would be terrifying. But basically, it's all about like corporate espionage in a way, with this corporation focused on social media and all that nonsense. And from one hand, it shows you how idiots we are of being so dependent now on this like mobile phones and social networks and stuff like that, which is something connected with another movie that I'm going to show later, which interests and perplexes me at the same time. And I think this wanted to be a sort of the digital age Wall Street or something like that. I don't know if it was this ambitious, but it's okay. It's an okay watch. It's not good by any means of the imagination, but I enjoyed it. My brother and I, this was so cheap, by the way. It was like £2 on a shop. And my brother and I, one night, we didn't know what to watch and said, let's try Paranoia. And we had a nice night. As I say, it's an okay movie for one night when you don't know what to watch and you find this on the cheap. So, not a really good publicity, but that's true. It's not a masterpiece, but it's okay. Next, I still need to watch this, and I'm very curious about it, actually. Eden Log. Now, this is a French movie, and from what I read when I bought it, because I read the story behind, it looks extremely interesting. It's all like, it sounds like post-apocalyptic, a sort of sci-fi-ish, but some sort of look like ideas from maybe Blade Runner, because what sci-fi movie doesn't take inspiration from Blade Runner, but also from The Matrix maybe, and all that good stuff. All the like amnesia kind of stories. I know I'm pretty vague in this, but I haven't watched it yet. So, but it looked very interesting. I love watching French movies here and there since technically I know French. So, but I like French cinema in general. So, and I like to explore like different approach to sci-fi movies, not to see the same things over and over again. Even like maybe an idea that has already been done, like I said, like Blade Runner, The Matrix, or any, but from a different perspective. Because of course, like French filmmaking is different from American or British or Italian or Nordic or Japanese. So it's always interesting to watch these movies that maybe you know what to expect, but then they surprise you. And as I said, Eden Log, I cannot wait to watch this. And yeah, I love this kind of, I'm gonna love this. And as I said, I love French movies. So next, it's a movie that I don't know what to expect. When I saw it, I was like, what the hell is this? And this, The Fall. When I saw this cover, and I said, what is that? I never heard of this. Never saw this. All of a sudden, I watched this crazy shit here. It's like a pair of lips, a carriage on fire, a guy with a gun, eyes with a butterfly instead of a nose. I was like, what is this crazy shit? But then I read behind, and it sounds very interesting, actually. It's like the story of this stuntman in the 1920s in a hospital in Los Angeles, and basically he started to talk with a girl who is in this hospital as well, and basically started telling stories about this weird people, weird place. It sounded so interesting and imaginative in a way, and creative, because that's one thing that I'm complaining a lot nowadays with movies and games in some sort of way. It's this lack of originality and creativity that, to me, it's a really serious problem in movies, especially in some sort of movies. But just, I don't know how good it's going to be, but I like the idea. I like that it's trying to do something creative or different. Yeah, it looks very interesting. I cannot wait to watch this. It looks also very strange, but there is probably a reason for that. And apparently it's being filmed in 20 countries around the globe. That sounds interesting. So I cannot wait to watch The Fall. Like the director, I have no idea who he is. All the actors, like, who is these people? So that alone caught my attention. And speaking of directors, on the other hand, and well-known company finally managed to get a movie that in a way kind of completed what I want from this studio. That is by Studio Ghibli, whatever you want to call it, Whisper of the Heart. With this, the movies that I kind of want from Studio Ghibli, there's still Princess Kaguya. I still want that, because if you haven't watched the movie, watch it, because it's gorgeous to look at. But I still need to buy the DVD, because the thing is, these movies are expensive to buy, actually. Probably because Studio Ghibli is very popular. So, but again, this sounds like a very nice, like always, Studio Ghibli story, like very heartwarming, with a lot of imagination, a lot of heart and mind at the same time. So I'm so curious to watch it. I just love the cover, other than the girl and the cat. But behind you can see like this sort of fantasy, strange, Grandia-ish in a way, city with these massive towers. And I know it's going to be a joy to watch it, because I love Studio Ghibli. And it's interesting that I said like Grandia-ish, because I think, to me, Studio Ghibli is the company that actually made the closest thing that I will ever get to a Grandia movie, and that it's Laputa, Castle in the Sky, one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. And cannot wait to watch Whisper of the Heart. It's it's the big movie, the one that interested me, that I still wanted, that is missing from my collection. From this more than 10 movies. There's an alarm going outside. I hope you cannot hear it, because for once we're not having sirens for once. Keeping the anime going, I'm finally very happy and finally getting Ghost in the Shell: Arise Border 3 and 4, so part 2 of these two projects. Basically, Arise is the prequel of Ghost in the Shell, and I don't know if I ever talked about it. Maybe, possibly, I'm not sure. I am a huge Ghost in the Shell fan, because Ghost in the Shell, this bad boy right here, this is, although the horrible edition of this is my favorite anime movie ever. Nothing comes close to this. Even Akira, no, this is much better to me. When I watched this blew my mind. It's basically what led me to discover like serious anime, serious stories, very mature and dark. And I fell in love with it. I read comics about it. I've tried to find everything Ghost in the Shell related for years, but it's not a very, especially back then, now it's different, but it was not a very popular series. It's very kind of niche. And after the standalone complex series, what's the name of that movie? Oh, I cannot remember it. The Solid State Society. There you go. Remember that all the first letter was the same. The standalone society is basically I think it's the conclusion. The movie. Well, what's going on? It's the movie that puts an end to the standalone complex, and that series, I think, it's probably what made Ghost in the Shell extremely popular. It's a great series, by the way. But this is the shit. I mean, the movie is really untouchable to me. The other movies are good. Like the second, it's good, but not as good. Like there is a horrible CGI remake of the first movie. Avoid that. That's garbage. But the Arise series, they're basically movies. These are like 4 movies. Because I cannot say short movies because each 4 of them are like one or more hour long, and it's fantastic. I was really surprised how much I loved Arise when I watched it. I already watched it on the internet. Then of course I have to buy the DVDs, but it took a long time to bring this to the West. I don't know if maybe I just missed it for a while, but I can go on for hours about Ghost in the Shell, and Arise is fantastic. It's I think I said it before, but let's say it again. It's the prequel of the series. It basically explains how the team of Ghost in the Shell got together, how Motoko Kusanagi basically met all the familiar characters like Bato, Togusa, Aramaki, and all the others, Pats, Brahma, Saito, all of them, and form this group, which is the Section 9, this sort of elite anti-terrorism, anti-cybercrime force. I love Ghost in the Shell. Let's just move on because I can go on forever about this. It's fantastic. Next, I'm so curious about this movie. I couldn't resist. The Fortress, not The Fortress, just Fortress. I just love this 80s, early 90s action sci-fi-ish movie. You'll not see a movie like this anymore. Or maybe, I don't think so, but for what I heard, maybe? No, I don't want to go there. But 2 things intrigue me with this movie. The first is it's made by the same director of Robojocks, which is that alone is very interesting. And that movie is really cool. Now I cannot remember his name, of course, but Stuart Gordon, I think. I might be wrong, but it might be Stuart Gordon. But it looked very interesting about like it's set in a post-apocalyptic world. I love those. I love post-apocalyptic in general in culture, and basically it's all about United States being there is being this huge prison, and the biggest crime people can do is having more than one child, if I remember correctly. It should be something like this. Yes. So it's, from what I read, it looks very interesting. There's Christopher Lambert. It was a badass back then. and I cannot wait to watch this. I'm so curious. And as I say, you will not see movies like this now, because with action movies, we're too busy with those superhero stuff. I don't mind it too much, but I'm so sick of it now. Because it's absolutely satirizing the genre, and it's satirizing and killing the action genre. I'm so proud of the next movie, by the way. How can I miss something like this? When I saw it, I was like, I have to have it. Hercules. Like, look at the cover. How can I skip something like this? There is this huge dude with two ladies with swords, a sort of battleship that looks like Ghidorah with only one head. It's basically a sort of sci-fi fantasy retelling of the myth of Hercules. Since I love Greek mythology, but I love this kind of 80s crap. Like, these kind of things are so bad that are awesome. I mean, like Hawk the Slayer, the Death Stalker, Sword and the Sorceress, those kind of things. These really crappy 80s fantasy movie, action fantasy, sci-fi-ish. They're awesome. I love this. Absolutely love this. I cannot wait to watch this. There's a sequel, by the way. We'll see how this goes, if I'll buy the sequel eventually. Next, no-brainer for me, since I love these movies and I love the series, Spectre. And I'm very surprised to hear that people didn't like this very much. Or the usual, like, oh, it's not as good as Skyfall, it's not as good as Casino Royale. I mean, what's wrong with you? This is a fantastic Bond movie. To me, I don't know if it's better or worse. I mean, it's still part of the story, because of course now with action movies, in a way, we have to have these huge stories. It's great. I'm not complaining all the time, of course. It's just like I'd like to notice that after Avengers, all these kind of movies have to have this massive storyline, which is fine. But Spectre, I watched this. This is fantastic. I mean, I don't understand why people is complaining so much. I mean, it has things, even though I'm not a fanatic, like a Bond fanatic, like a good friend of mine is, he loves 007, and he basically agreed with me, even though he said, yes, it's not my favorite, but it's a great movie. And I heard that this is mainly in the States, because yeah, here in the United Kingdom, Bond, it's kind of a national treasure. But in the United States, I heard a lot of complaining that people say, yeah, it's not as good as before. I mean, this is not so good. I think for certain things, I prefer this to the others. For others, I prefer the others to this. Like most of these movies. In general, the Daniel Craig 007, because you have to watch all of this together, it's fantastic. Maybe, like, I don't know, if you haven't watched the 3 before this, I don't know if the story will make that much sense, because it's all connected. This, I think, puts an end to Daniel Craig Bond character. In fact, there's huge speculations if it's going to be, if it still continue to be Bond, or who will be the next Bond. And I loved everything about it. The only thing that I didn't like, there is one thing that I really didn't like, and I cannot say because it's a huge spoiler. But let's just say the connection between Bond and the main villain, that was super lame for me. I really didn't like that. But apart from that, the rest of the movie, it's great. I really, really liked it. Great story, I think. Amazing action. Great Bond girl. I mean, that's a part of the movies no one talked that in Skyfall, the holy grail of Bond, the Bond girl, it's basically non-existent. Unless you count Judi Dench as the Bond girl, but that's weird. But yeah, I mean, of course, Skyfall is great. Casino Royale is really good. Because that's special because it also rebooted the series in a way. And I also like Quantum of Solace for what it was. But why people is criticizing this? This is fantastic. Watch Spectre. It's great. And finally, the last movie. I kept the best for last, I think, because technically I have a lot to say, and I think that this video is already going on forever. But you know me, I love to talk about this stuff. Finally watched Terminator Genisys. I'm a huge Terminator fan since I was a kid. Terminator 2, of course, is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I love Terminator 1. The first two movies to me are basically perfection. And then we got Rise of the Machine, and then we got Salvation, and then we got this one. I watched this a couple of nights ago. My feeling is this is a good movie, but also is a big meh. I mean, again, as I was saying before, like the world being completely dependent on social media, being connected, mobile phones, and all that nonsense. Basically, that is how Skynet is going to take over the world. Not like with military computer and everything, but through our mobile phones. Be careful, people. Judgment Day is coming. But apart from that, I enjoy this because I love Terminator so much, but I have a lot of things to say. And the biggest problem to me of the Terminator series now, and one of the reasons why I loved Salvation so much, I think I'm on the 3 post Terminator 2, that is the best thing. 3, it's okay, but also mediocre. This is, again, quite good, but also mediocre in its own way. Because Terminator movies should stop trying to be Terminator 2 again. Because this is kind of the same thing. It's kind of pumped up a bit. It's not just like Terminator 3 was just a mediocre copy of Terminator 2 to me. The two Terminator, one protecting John Connor, the other trying to kill him. This is kind of the same. And I don't know. There's of course like the T-1000 again, even though it's not the main villain. But the main villain also, I don't know, I wasn't completely sure. Arnold is great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, is it hilarious when he tries to smile with this really creepy... Like, that's a lot of fun with Sarah Connor trying to humanize the Terminator a bit. But we already saw that. There's Terminator 2 for all of that. Salvation was great because they tried to do something new. That's the thing with Terminator. I think they should introduce new character and let them stand. It's not just about that. It should not be Arnold dependent, because Salvation worked very well without Arnold. There is a sort of cameo, even though it's not him, towards the end. But stop trying to be Terminator 2 and do your own thing. And also, at the end of the day, even though I loved the series, I like these movies, even though they're not as good as the first two. I think that the series should have ended with 2. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the series. After that, everything else is completely unnecessary. I said it. Even though I loved Terminator, but should have ended a long time ago. And I love like the Sarah Connor Chronicle. That's a really good series. I still need to watch season 2, but I love season 1 because they introduce a new character. They try to expand this universe a little. It's not just John Connor, Sarah Connor, the Terminator. Or Kyrie's. I mean, try to do something different with Terminator. And finally, let's move to the final items, which are music, CDs. And recently, I've been on a big Ronnie James Dio kick. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite hard rock, metal singer. And I wanted to buy CDs featuring him as a singer. And other than the 2 phenomenal Black Sabbath albums, Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, which you should get. They're fantastic. Basically, when I say that I love Black Sabbath, I'm referring to those 2 discs specifically because I'm not a huge fan of Ozzy. So when I looked at Dio's story as a singer and everything, I discovered this band called Rainbow, and I'm sure they're extremely famous and everything. Seriously, I'm sure of it. It's just my fault that it's impossible to catch on with everything in music. So basically, and I forgot to mention, when I look at Rainbow, I also discovered that Richie Blackmore was the lead guitar on that. I was like, holy shit! Dio and Blackmore together? That's the ultimate rock combo. And in fact, it is. Started with their first disc. I hope they like it's okay. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. This is the first one. It's 1975. This is all like mid to late 70s, early 80s stuff. Especially the Rainbows are late 70s. And Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, the first disc, followed by their second, this iconic Rising. This is fantastic, but also the first one, it's great. And the third one, which is not the last, but it's the last you should get. The rest of the Rainbow, it's not worth it because Dio left to do his own stuff. Long live rock and roll. This is awesome. I mean, these three discs are phenomenal. You should get at least one of these two on vinyl, I think, for the covers. Especially this. This is gorgeous. I love this cover. This sort of castle with a guitar in the middle. But I love Dio's voice. It's really peculiar in his own way, but also pleasant to hear for being a hard rock metal voice. And I love Ritchie Blackmore. He's one of the best guitar players of all time to me. Because I discovered him listening to Deep Purple, of course. And when I heard it, and I listened to him in, how this called? He did his own sort of medieval rock band. I cannot remember. It was Blackmore something or something else. I cannot remember the name, but he's awesome. He's a phenomenal guitar player. And when you listen to Rainbow Song, after Dio singing and then Blackmore's playing guitar like there's no tomorrow, you're in rock heaven. And finally, out of curiosity, and this is really worth it by the way, Holy Diver by Dio. When Dio did his own band, and for simplicity he kept his surname in it, I think it's awesome. This is the first disc, and according to some that I talked to, it's the best that they did, but since this is really cool, I'm really going to get some more. And compared with Rainbow, this is a bit more heavy metal, but it's heavy metal from the 80s, I think. When it's, I think it's 80s, 83. There you go. So it's really old school heavy metal, but it's really great. I mean, there are classic songs in like Holy Diver, Caught in the Middle, Strike Through the Heart, Rainbow in the Dark. I mean, these songs are fantastic. So if you like rock and metal, look for Rainbow and Dio, because you can get better than this. I mean, in terms of voice and in terms of guitars, oh, that's so cool. This is it. Finally, I watch the timing. This is going forever, but as I said, I have a lot of stuff, and I love to talk about the stuff that I get. And yeah, a lot of movies, a lot of music, a lot of games. That's fantastic. That's how a pickup should be. So, guys, I'm just letting you go since I'm kind of tired. I have to get lunch and get to work now. So thanks for watching. I cannot talk now. Thanks so much for watching. Like always, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.